Daniel Ricciardo's future continues to be the talk of the paddock, with the veteran driver battling with young gun Liam Lawson for his RB F1 drive. Ricciardo has struggled to re-establish himself in F1 since returning as a race driver mid-season with RB last year, including a 5-race stint on the sidelines with a broken hand. 2024 hasn't been much better, with Yuki Tsunoda outqualifying the Honey Badger 7-2 and outracing him 5-2 when they could be compared. He's also scored 10 more points. RB boss Laurent Mekies says the squad is focused on making sure that Ricciardo can perform at his best. But pressure to deliver is skyrocketing, as reserve Lawson must be given a 2025 drive or he can leave Red Bull, which would mean forfeiting its investment in him. Ricciardo was verbally slammed by 1997 F1 world champion Jacques Villeneuve in Canada, who contentiously asked why he was still in the sport, given his run of results since leaving Red Bull. Villeneuve himself was attacked online for the comments after Ricciardo qualified 5th and finished 8th. But his Sky Sports F1 colleague Martin Brundle backed his reasoning in the race's aftermath. He clearly still does have speed and racecraft, as we witnessed also in the Miami Sprint. But something in his psyche or approach is holding that back, and it's costing him opportunity and longevity, said Brundle on Ricciardo. Alpine has promised Esteban Ocon he will get equal treatment, against the backdrop of rumors it's set to cut its engine program from 2026 and become a customer team. Ocon was under fire in Monaco after he made contact with his teammate Pierre Gasly on lap 1, despite instructions to support him given he had been out-qualified, though he heeded a late race call in Montreal to let Gasly past for a chance to hunt down RB's Daniel Ricciardo. But Ocon was left infuriated when the team didn't swap the places back, following Gasly's failure to claim 8th, with the Frenchman stating his displeasure to official podcast F1 Nation.
Not the happiest, to be honest. Obviously, we started last and got into the points with both cars, which is amazing for the team, but I did my part of the job, being a team player, being the nice guy, but too nice I am. But I had to let Pierre go at the end, which I've done. I've always followed the instructions that I've been given, but for no reason really, because we were not going to catch Daniel. That was the reason for the call, and obviously I'm losing a point there.
But Alpine boss Bruno Fermat sought to clear the air post-race, with the Frenchman stating Ocon and Gasly are on the same level and status, though he said the team's interest will always come first. Sauber driver Valtteri Bottas says getting the Swiss squad into the points is not rocket science, they just need more upgrades. Sauber is the only squad yet to earn points after 9 rounds, with Zhou Guanyu closest to scoring, having finished 11th in Bahrain. But while the team has now solved its early season pit equipment issues, Bottas says reaching the top 10 is doable. We need to keep bringing upgrades and make the car faster, said Bottas. It's not rocket science, we just need more bits. The FIA has made an abrupt change to its age restriction for F1, following an amendment of its International Sporting Code that could give outstanding 17-year-olds with enough points a chance to race. It's a move that paves the way for Andrea Kimi Antonelli's immediate F1 race debut, with the Merc Jr. now able to be considered. The FIA has also scrapped the need for a valid driving license and says that, at the sole discretion of the FIA, a driver judged to have recently and consistently demonstrated outstanding ability and maturity in single-seater Formula Car competition may be granted a super license at the age of 17 years old. Ferrari's own Mugello circuit was the place to be for F1 action last week, with Pirelli running a 2-day test there with the Scuderia to gather data for its 2025 compounds and constructions. The Prancing Horses race drivers Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz ran on Thursday and Friday respectively, with Pirelli focusing on its hardest compounds to reduce overheating. Mugello was Pirelli's 5th tyre development test so far for 2024, following its stints in Spain at the well-worn Barcelona and Jerez circuit, Suzuka in Japan, and Paul Ricciardo in France. Red Bull's Dr. Helmut Marko has questioned Aston Martin driver Lance Stroll's commitment to F1, despite the Canadian's recent impassioned statements that he's staying in the sport. Stroll has enjoyed a far better season this year compared to his 2-time F1 world champion teammate Fernando Alonso. 4-5 in qualifying, but lags in races 2-6 and on points 17-41. While his best results are all in the distant past, including 3 podiums and pole position at the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix. But while Stroll says he's excited for the future, with his place on the grid protected by his father Aston Martin boss Lawrence Stroll, Marko isn't so sure about the Canucks' dedication. He's had some very good races and some very ordinary ones. I wonder if he really wants to be a driver and if he works very hard to achieve good results, Marko said. Mercedes says it expects to be competitive at the tracks ahead, including the next race in Spain, but has warned fans that it likely won't be fighting at the front again as Montreal's layout flattered its upgrades. The Silver Arrows were back in Canada, with George Russell on pole, but the Brit just couldn't hold back faster rivals during the race, instead claiming Mercedes' first podium for 2024. But while the squad was happy to take a big step forward in Montreal, technical director James Allison says the next few races will be tougher, especially with Barcelona a traditional test track.
The characteristics of Montreal probably make it look a little quicker than we have a natural right to command at the coming races. I think it more likely that we will be competitive but not right at the front, because the next tracks are a little bit of a sterner test of a car, hot asphalt, wider cornering speeds and so on. However, that said, I also know what we've got coming. I also know what we're planning to further improve the car. And our challenge is just to keep those upgrades arriving at a pace that the others can't keep up with.
FIA single-seater director Nicholas Tombazis says he hopes the 2026 F1 regulations provide close racing from the outset, with the aim to provide long-term competitive action on track. The governing body released the blueprints for the 2026 regs at the last race in Canada, illuminating both teams and fans on its plans for leaner cars with balanced engine and electrical power. But Tombazis, in a chat with F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid, says the vision is clearly there for the sport to take a big step forward, despite ongoing negotiations on details in various areas.
Clearly, my hope is that it will be very competitive out of the box. My hope is we'll have different teams winning and periods when they go up and down and so on. I think invariably with new rules there will be somebody who gets it wrong and who finds themselves in a rather embarrassing spot to start with. But I do think we're putting some things together to make sure it's more competitive in the long run.
Nico Hülkenberg has implored Haas to fix the not fully healthy aero balance on his VF24, with the German stating it's costing the squad point-scoring chances. Haas finished just outside the points in Canada, where the Hulk finished 11th and Kevin Magnussen 12th. But the 36-year-old says fixing its aero issues will mean better qualifying and therefore race results. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.